What is up, everybody? Welcome. What the fuck am I saying? Welcome. What is up, everybody? Do you want to see a high probability trade? Yes, you do. This is going to be a trade that yields 20 ticks. Okay, and it only goes against me 2 ticks. This trade lasted for 31 minutes and 35 seconds, and it yielded $1,012.50 on 6 contracts. So this is a big 20 tick trade. This is definitely the trade of the week for me, and it's just a really good trade altogether. And this is what I would call a low risk, high probability trade. So this is a little important. Let me pull this up because this is kind of important. You need to watch this other video if you haven't watched it. I'll put the link in the description. Let me show you which one it is. So let me just go over. So the video I am talking about is this one right here, this auction market theory and price action video. I'll put the link in the description. You're going to want to watch that video first before you watch this. So pause this video and go to that one. Because what I explain in this video happens in this particular trade. Okay. And here's the thing. I'm giving you guys something that took me years upon years to figure out, and that's the pattern of the price action. Okay? And what I'm showing you, you're not going to find anywhere else on YouTube. So these are my one good trades. These are the best setups I have. And as of recent, I'm starting to really see it and get a lot better at trading these things. And I want to share it with you guys so you can, if you don't have any setups, any strategies, you don't have anything, this would be good. And this would be one of the best trades for you to kind of start off with. And it's not like some high frequency scalping. These are more, it depends. It really depends on the context, but I mean, it's a 31-minute trade. So before we get into it, please support me. I am giving you fantastic material. I show you real trades. And I'm showing you order flow like you're not seeing anywhere else. Please support me. Donate a coffee. It's only $3. I'm going to use that money to pay for this trading challenge. If you're not familiar with that, watch my New Year's resolution video, or don't donate. That's okay. So I have to plug this. Link in the description, coffee.com/Fat Cats of Wall Street. Anyways, let's move on. So this is Thursday, February 6, 2020. This is in the afternoon, 2:30 Central, 2:21 Central. Funny little thing about this particular day, when I turned on the computer, I didn't realize this, but I had been sitting in a trade for 22 hours. I guess I left the previous trading day in a position and had no idea, and when I turned on the computer, I was down $6,600. Luckily, those of you who know, I'm on sim right now because of this trading challenge. So thank God that didn't really fucking happen. But now I'm pretty paranoid that I'm hitting the flat key before I shut everything down. Swear to God, I thought I was out of the trade. I don't know what happened. I always have cats walking on my keyboard, so that could have been what happened there. So anyways, this particular trade, I need to show you something. So I don't have any good screenshots. This is my Discord trading room. Here it is. So this is the trade. You can see I just got into it. Okay. I zoomed out as much as I could because I'm sharing with my traders in the room that this is an 80% probability trade. It's going to go all the way up here, and it does, and I'm going to show you that. Notice that I'm projecting what's going to happen before it happens because this is a high probability trade. So if you watched the last video, assuming you've watched the last video, I'm going to touch on something here. So if you remember, there's a pattern that plays out all the time, okay, in the price action. When you have your profile, when you trade into it, you're going to test the high of the profile. So here's your profile, and then it kind of tapers off right here, right? So this is a little refresher recap right here. You're going to test near the edge of the profile. You're going to pull back in. You're going to probably bounce off the point of control. And it's never this perfect, but it's you got to kind of realize that. You're going to come up by maybe 1 tick or 3, usually around there. You're going to come in 1 to 3 ticks, okay? Then you're going to have a pullback. Once you make a higher high, so you're going to make a higher high versus here, there's an 80% probability it's going to go to the other side of the profile. Okay? And then the same thing starts to happen. You test here. Boom. Boom. And if you come down here and you come through by 1 to 3 ticks, usually 1 tick, somewhere in there, 1 to 3 ticks, 80% probability to go to the other side. Now, this doesn't happen all the time. You're not going to get this 80% thing happening both ways. It can only happen one side usually. Because in reality, and just keep in mind I'm kind of winging this shit, and I really want you guys to understand because there's nothing else out there like this. I want to help you guys out. In reality, it's gonna look like, you know, something like this, and then it's gonna come up and then kind of chop and then come down and then chop around a little bit, and then there's gonna be a bounce, and there could chop here because the profile's not perfect, and then we kind of come up, make a higher high by 1 tick, and then usually it's pretty smooth, and then you might have a little bit of this, and then you come back to the other side, and there's your 80% probability trade. So what you're looking for is to make a higher high or lower lower by like 1 to 3 ticks, usually 1 tick. And that's what it's going to really look like. Now, if you zoom in on a macro, like if you zoom in, this type of price action happens in the big picture and it happens in the small picture too. So this type of pattern is happening here, 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 here. So this type of pattern is happening on a smaller scale within the larger scale of it. It's kind of like looking at, you know, a daily chart. You may see a giant range happening on a daily chart, but if you zoom in, there may have been several ranges on the 1 hour chart and a few trends. So overall, the daily, we're in a giant range, but if you zoom in, we did the range trade 3 times and we had maybe 2 trends. And then if you zoom in further to a fucking 10-minute chart, the range trades could have happened 10 times and we could have had 5 trends. But overall, the big picture of the daily, we're still in a range. So that's exactly how you want to look at this. Because if you zoom in, you see right here, it still has that kind of move that I just showed you, just within right here. And I know this might be a little hard to see. I can't make it bigger. I don't have this picture anymore. It just lives on Discord. So a little context, because I zoomed out quite a bit, cranked it up to a 23-second chart. Again, you're going to see these patterns on anywhere between, 1 second to 25 second. You definitely need to have a second chart to see this kind of stuff. You're really not going to see this as clear on a minute chart. So here's your profile. Notice it goes from 45.75 all the way down to 39.75. It's almost a nice, uniform, perfect-looking profile. It's mostly flat. You got these random high nodes in it. Random high nodes are going to cause a little bit of turbulence. And then you got these two kind of higher node pointing controls in the center. So overall, it's a really nice distribution curve, I would say. It's kind of long. In the last video that I recommend you watch, there's a profile curve that is textbook. In the length of it, it doesn't go this many ticks, but it's more uniform and perfect, and it has more of a pronounced curve to it. But nonetheless, this is still a nice distribution curve. So up here, this is stiff resistance. This is all-time highs. Sellers, I should say, are really keen on defending it. Now, the thing is, we make a double top right here to the tick. So what I drew here isn't happening. You're not breaching by one tick up here. You're making a double top. So these things are never perfect. But we test down here, okay? And this is where I turned the computer on. We tested down here, which came to, what, 39.75, I think? Pretty much 39.75, right where the profile tapers off, okay? So you're on a high volume edge. It's going to act magnetic, and also this is such a big distribution curve. The magnetic forces of it are huge, and it's going to be very difficult to get out of it. So it just makes sense that, we have a bounce here. Okay, notice we go all the way up to about 44 even, and then we start chopping on the point and control right here. And then we go up and we test, up in the 45.75 area. Come back down. This is theoretically what happens here is sort of supposed to be a bounce on the point and control, but sometimes, it falls in with such fierce velocity that then again, it is a 23-second chart, so there's more chop in here that you're just not seeing. But it does fall in, and it kind of, it comes down with such velocity, but theoretically, the point of control still holds right here, even though it comes down to 41.75 at this point. It still manages to magnetize it and pull it back up. We test again. So we have these two tests to the high, and we're not getting through. So what does that tell us? Sellers are willing to defend it. Notice how we start chopping around in this area, and we make lower highs here, and then progressively we go down to the other side. This is what I was looking for. Anything in here really doesn't matter. What you're looking for is you want to see, because the thing is we can't get through here. Notice all this size is coming on and off. That's really making it hard for the market to kind of do the price pattern it does all the time, which this price pattern happens every day, multiple times a day, whether it's on a smaller 3-tick scale or a large multiple point scale like this. This pattern happens every day, all day. But the best ones happen on the bigger scale, so you got to kind of zoom out like this. So we come down here, and we come down by exactly one tick from where we last tested. And then we turn around. There's a little bit of chop happening right here. But I know that it's an 80% probability trade that it's going to go to the other side. I ended up scaling out 3 right here, and then I take the other 3 off right at 44.75 because this 45 was holding so well we couldn't get through it. But I'm telling my traders in my room that this is a great trade. And sure as a shit, it worked out. And why is it so low risk is because, look, I have 588 sitting here at 39 even. And this is kind of where the low nodes start to pick up in the higher nodes, so I can lean on the size. I can lean on, I'm willing to risk 39 even on this trade. Maybe 38.50 because this is where a high node is, so it could bounce right there. But I have size and I have some nice profile structure to lean on. So I'm willing to risk this amount of money and go full size. For me, full size is 6 contracts right now to take this trade. But the risk is so high. So this is, for me, is a low risk, high reward trade. And these are the best trades, hands down. And again, you're not going to find this anywhere else. This is something Nobody has shared any of this shit. I figure this out, okay? There's one video I watched online that made it totally click. Let me show you what it is. Let me show you. This is where this one video made it just click for me. Give me just a second. I'm pulling it up. It's a little fuzzy. I'll put the link in the description, but this video, Auction Market Theory. This fucking video. Somebody explains the auctioning process. Oh, hold on. I got a cat on my keyboard. Oh, fucking shit. Hopefully it didn't fuck anything up. I got a kitten. He's a little bastard. Anyways, fucking asshole. Anyways, this video made it totally click for me. I'll put the link in the description. This is the video that helped me figure out this fucking pattern. Now, it's not... This doesn't tell you... This video isn't... It doesn't tell you how to trade. It just talks about the auctioning process. But it dives into the auction process pretty good, and I didn't explain it as well as this video explains it in the previous video I want you guys to watch. But you definitely want to check it out. It's pretty good because he talks about some guy that keeps buying top ticks, and he always got stopped out. And this guy, I guess, used to be a pit trader, and he was referring back to the pit trading days. And that's exactly what fucking happens here. This is the top tick or bottom tick, and then it rolls over, and it's a pretty dramatic move. So we're going to watch that happen. So here it is, more zoomed in, and the reason I showed you on there is because I have a picture-in-picture that records, and you just won't be able to see it because of this fucking stochastic thing. So right here, I know this is a high probability trade. So here's right at the bottom tick. Look at the footprint. Look, it's just slowing down. Really not seeing anything significant come in on the tape. But it's absorbing right here. Nevertheless, over 648 orders have absorbed right here. So buyers are absorbing. So I'm zooming out and I'm taking a screenshot. So that screenshot you see is what I'm about to take here. Actually, I'm zooming out to just check out to see how many ticks we've gone through. So we kind of go below here, but since there's been absorbing right here, that's going to kind of pull it back up, and there's really not much volume flowing in. The volume's somewhat, it's not very heavy coming in right here. And I don't get in exactly at the bottom of this move. I need some confirmation because it could still break through. You know, there's a 20% chance it could go through. So we kind of move up relatively easy right here. And we're moving up on sort of lower orders, which is interesting. So I clear out the market orders to get a better... And I've never gone over this, but the market orders that come in right here are over here as well, except for these don't get cleared out. I clear it out every now and then, but I clear it out right here because it's important for me when it comes to making a tight entry or a tight scalp. I need those numbers to be cleared out because they're old news after a while. I don't care about this 132 anymore. You know what I mean? I care about what's happening right now, and that is it. After that, I clear it out because I need to constantly know what's new. But this is nice because it keeps that information over here. So, and it's not being erased. So we're kind of getting embedded here. Not going to quite take the trade yet. Look how much volume is trading here. So there's absorbing here. So the buyers are absorbing. And then they're also buying up what the sellers offer right here. So clearly buyers are interested in this level. You got 100 that just came in. So that's my sign that buyers are willing to be somewhat aggressive here. And also I'm leaning, so I'm taking the entry right on this right here because a lot of volume's trading here. So if things are starting to go wrong, there's a higher probability I can get out right here because the price is attracted to this level, 40 even. So notice how this is kind of acting like a point of control would. So you see I'm 170, 124, boom, goes through me. That's okay. I'm willing to pay up for this trade because this is such a good trade. I see it, I smell it, I know it, I'm confident. It's a no-brainer trade. This thing's easy. Easy, easy. And this is all you need to do. You need to just take one of these trades every day, scale up in it, and you can make a living doing this. I mean, making $1,000 a day, would that help you? Is that what you need to go full-time in this? That's pretty good money in my opinion. So, I mean, this shit doesn't happen quite like this every day, so. And I know most of you that watch this stuff, it's not about the money. It's about the trade. That's why you're here, and that's why you watch my videos all the way through. Those of you who don't watch these videos all the way through, you're missing out so much. You're missing out some of the best information. And not to have a huge ego on my head, but nobody's sharing shit like this. And I've gone through so much shit to figure this out. And usually I would like try to buy a breakout here. So I've been ran over so many fucking times trying to take breakout trades that I'm not good at breakout trades. And I figured that out. And for me, it's trading fading ranges like this. Fading trades back to the point of control. Those are my best trades. So taking a little screenshot here. Because this is where I mark it up and draw everything you saw. So I'm not going to just like let this thing play out for 30 minutes. But I want you to see where it starts to push nicely. It's already getting away from my price. And it's not going to just zip up. Okay? It's not going to just zoom up there. Sometimes it can. And this is all very discretionary. So, of course, that 450 is going to be a problem, but I'm not too concerned about it. So we'll go ahead and fast forward up until that point so you can kind of... excuse me. Ooh, that was rude. So you can kind of see the struggle here. So it's pulling back. Notice it goes up, it bounces, it pulls back. It's going to kind of... It's kind of doing exactly the pattern that we're seeing, but on a shorter scale. So right here it stops here, and now it's going to wind up and tighten up on 40.75 or somewhere right around here, and then it's going to pop out again. So look how it comes back to my entry, and it comes back on quite a bit aggressive selling, but I'm not concerned about it by any means. So you're going to have to kind of sit through this chop. And if you're new to scalping, it's really hard to sit through this kind of shit because you'll panic sell or whatever. You'll fucking panic out of the trade usually and take small scalps. And this is where my trading is really progressing. I'm maturing in a way that I'm able to take longer trades. And it's not just about momentum scalps. It's about just, it's nice to just hit a nice home run and just a nice easy trade like this. Not at all concerned. Yeah, it could fail, but oh well, you know. So I zoomed back in quite a bit. So now you can really see the bulk of what's happening here. It's at an 11-second chart now. Notice the stochastic starting to roll back over on the sold level. Usually it sometimes bounces off this line right here. Technical indicators are kind of stupid, but at least for me, they just, you use them very loosely. I kind of see the patterns and the stochastics, so, you know. So I'm not too concerned about it. So it's kind of making a higher low right here, or a lower, yeah, a higher low right here. That's good. So you can see how we kind of like, notice that pattern's actually right here. Notice we go down and we come back up and we go through by one tick and then we start to go back down. So you'll have these little dramatic moves, and you can kind of see them everywhere, actually. Like, for instance, like, you know, right here, we have this high, we have this low, so we go up, we come down by one tick, and then 80% probability it goes to the other side. Boom. So it's, I mean, the risk to reward isn't that good, but you can see this bigger pattern is happening on a smaller level. And that's what I want you guys to really grasp and understand. Quite a bit of absorption right here, actually. So that's kind of what's going on there. Not too concerned about it because it's going to bounce around between these two absorption areas. Now you have size coming in at this center point. So if you were to draw a center point right here between this high and this low, this is a small range in a bigger range. Like I was talking about with the daily chart, hour chart, 5-minute chart. That's what's happening here. So this is sort of your point of control. It is a higher node too. But now they're going to boost it up. And I'm kind of watching that pattern on the smaller scale as well. I want to see it make a higher high and not retrace. I want to see it start to embed up here. So we'll kind of watch. So notice it's zipping up. On some nice size is coming in on the tape too. 155, 150, 123. So the buyers are being aggressive. I like it. So now I need to see it get through 41.75 and not roll over. In fact, this is such a dramatic move right here. This is such a dramatic move. There's a low probability that if it comes through by one tick, it's not going to do this dramatic push. Usually you have these little dramatic pushes like this one happen every now and then. So notice all the size up here at 45. This is so heavily defended. Look at this. Look at this shit. So just the price can't get through. So that, I mean, we're not going to get through that. And we don't get through that. But this is, all-time highs are right there. So, yeah, it's really, it's not going to go through there. So I might as well just bail at 44.75. And notice that stochastic kind of rolled back over again. Against stochastics are kind of useless. I mean, it kind of helps me get a picture of what's could possibly happen. There's times like where it rolls over and it's pretty valid. Like I want to say this, I don't know when this happened, but 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute stochastic, 14.33 slows. Here's the problem. We get through by one tick. I don't want to see it drop in. I want to see it get stuck within these 3 ticks right here. Because if it stays stuck right here, and I'm going to show you a trade in another video, probably after this video, where how you know it's not going to retrace, how you know it's going to break out. And it's kind of the same thing. See how we're getting embedded up here? So we breach by one tick, but we're getting stuck and we're chopping. That's what I want to see. And then a 172 comes in. That's good. That means buyers are being aggressive and they're willing to push us out of this little range right here for the betterment of the large range. And again, I mentioned in the last video that I wanted you guys to watch, my auction market theory video or whatever. I do mention how you have different ranges are established in the volume profile. So notice how we have this small range here, and then you got a range up here, and then you got this tight consolidation range here. When the profile is very long and broad like this, you're going to have multiple ranges being put into it. So you have to realize that. But overall, it's going to do what it needs to and explore both sides of the profile. You just got to kind of wait till you get to the edges. Now I got size coming in under me. That's great. And remember, there was size right here. It pulled off, so that's always nice too. See how I didn't panic? And it went in my favor by so much, and it came back past me by like 1 tick, and I didn't panic, nothing. Okay, and it just takes practice to like... So I'm queuing out, attempting to queue out 3, because I want to take some money off the table. And... because it could bounce here. It could bounce on the point of control, and I know that. So even though I say it's a hot 80% probability trade that it goes to the other side, there's still a probability that it could bounce here and then come back down. And I want to take something off the table, and I'm willing to hold the other 3 to my to a break even, or maybe a 1 tick win. And you know, yeah, I'm leaving all this money on the table, but at least I'm taking some of it off, and this is just scaling out, and this is how I do it. And this is the beauty of trading multiple contracts. Doing one contract, this would be, you couldn't take some of the profits off the table. And it's not about being greedy. Yes, I kind of panic out right there. But I'm like, oh shit, this could be the bounce, because it tagged right under this high node to the T. So I needed to take something off the table. And now the last 3 are sort of my bonus, and I'm going to hold them no matter what and try to get out at 44.75, which I do. So let's fast forward it. Oh, shit, that's a beautiful move. Oh, God. So we do have a little bounce. That's natural. So this is the fucking... Yeah, let's go back a little bit, because that's a fucking dramatic push out. Again, these are high nodes. Again, it's like driving a car. These are like speed bumps. You're going to slow down to go over them, right? That's what's happening with the price. So keep that in mind. Sometimes it'll go through it, no problem, but just with the speed of volume that's coming in the afternoon, and how long and broad this profile is, it's just, yeah, it's not going to zip through too easy. Now watch the tape, because it's going to zip up pretty fucking quickly. And I'm like, ooh, hell yeah. So if you're trading 2 contracts, take one off here and then hold the other one. So you're at least getting something, because you don't want to just like hold all 6 and then it comes back on top of you, and then you sat in that trade for nothing. So this is the importance of scaling out. You really don't know, but it's nice to scale, because it really allows you to tweak what you're taking home. Look at this. Look at this aggressive buying. And notice how blue the tape is. Not just these block orders coming in. You got this low node here, so we're kind of squeezing through it. So that's... low nodes are this low area in the footprint, so that's kind of nice. You got 270 coming on, so it's going to act as support somewhat. Aggressive selling, complete absorption. Look at that. So what happened right here was 101, 101, 138. Somebody tried to take out multiple price levels. Notice how the market didn't even move down barely. That means buyers are being very aggressive about absorbing. And again, you have to keep in mind this is the VPOC, the volume point of control. You're going to naturally see large transactions take place right here. You kind of need to disconnect from that a little bit, because this is the most popular price, so therefore bigger traders are going to trade here. Yeah, you want to pay attention to what's going on with it, but seeing something like this is more important near the profile edges, because that tells you what's if large traders are trying to break us out. Because the range trades in a distribution zone, a profile, are controlled by short-term traders. When you move out of the distribution zone, when you break out, that requires large traders to be able to push us out, because it is, you need to watch my last video and you need to watch this video on auction market theory to understand. But, you know, again, you know, oops. Hold on, I just fucked up. Why is that not going away? There we go. Again, this is like, you know, this is fair market value, and this is being sold at a deep discounted price, so naturally more buyers are going to be down here, and then more sellers are going to be up here. So you have to realize that this is a fucking auction, you know. So you're going to have more, you're going to have a lot of large buying and selling happen right here in the VPOC. So you want to pay attention, because if this large size swept it and it started dropping in and then it holds, that's not good. Notice that it dropped in, but it didn't really move on such large selling. That's a good thing. Buyers are absorbing right here. I don't know why my mouse is all over the fucking screen like that. I think it's because I'm talking to my traders and they can't see my screen, but I still do that shit. So I don't know if we have another nice, real aggressive push happen right here. But notice, I mean, we really weren't fazed by that at all, so that's good. That's good for me. And you do have these large asks. This one, this 427's been coming on and off, and I know they're a bit serious. I know they're serious right here because they're really trying to defend this level. And I understand the context from when we tested there before. I understand what was happening here. Got a 312 coming in. That's nice. I like to see large bids come in behind me. Also, this 4375, sort of a higher node, so it's again naturally the speed bump theory. And you got a lower node here, so this is almost like a small bell curve. So you're going to notice, watch the price action. We're going to kind of have this range trade start to establish here. Just like this is more the macro picture of this type of price action. But it's happening over the course of 4 ticks. Aggressive buying didn't really do nothing. It's a popular price, and more aggressive buying. That's nice. It's absorbing. But now we're kind of up there, so that's good. You can see the footprint's kind of heavy right there. So I want to see it break out of this little high node, this 4375. I want to see it break out. Look at the size coming in right here. Really trying to defend this area. More aggressive buying. That's good. They're not giving up just yet. But this is where you're seeing a battle of large traders right now. Aggressive selling. They're whacking it. They're really trying to keep the market away from this area. And the profile's not uniform at all. It's really not that good looking, so it's going to trade funky. You have to realize the profile is like, what does the road look like ahead of us? So that's what the profile is. A lot of absorbing between these two prices altogether. Again, this is sort of a low area on the footprint, so I know it's probably going to not quite get through. And This 43, this VPOC is really holding up well, you can see right here. So now it's acting as support, which is good. It'll do that at times. Really aggressive selling. Still going to hold it. And I think it's very important that we see the price action. So notice how we're trading in this tight range here. Very aggressive buying right there. Massively aggressive buying, actually. 285 and 215 come together to sweep out. They try to sweep out two prices. So I like seeing that. That gives me confidence that buyers are still here. Big buyers are here. And this video is really a lot different than a lot of these shorter term scalp videos. And it's kind of nice. I think it's nice, you know, that I'm getting better at these and I can share them with you, because some of you guys is just too fast and you can't fucking handle it right now. So this is just a good trade altogether. I really like this one. I do want you guys to see what happens when we break out of this little range, though. So we're going to test either up here by 1 tick or down here by 1 tick, and it should, in theory, do that 80% probability thing where it tests the other side. But it is only 4 ticks, so it kind of is already testing both sides relatively easily. Aggressive buying, aggressive buying. They're still there. Hello. Thank you. So much absorption on both sides. So that's good. Buyers aren't giving up, clearly. 103 coming in. 147. So we're starting to get out of that, and we're starting to test up here. That's beautiful. And here's the thing. Let's see if it zips to the other side. In theory, this should drop back down to 43.25 relatively easily, but it doesn't. Notice this 423 comes in. Nice. So that's telling me buyers want to push this. We got 449 right here. It is kind of pulling off a little bit. It is pulling off a little bit. So now we're getting embedded up here, and that's a good sign. If it was going to push to the other side, it would have already done that. And it didn't. So that's a sign this is going to push up. Problem is we got this 400 sitting on the offer there. Pushing it down. Now this 43.75 is starting to act as support. Notice how we've been trading above it. Again, it's an 11-second chart, so these smaller time frame charts are very important. And this is why Jigsaw is just an amazing piece of software, well worth the money. Just absolutely see how that it's starting to act as support now. So that's nice. Now we're kind of chopping through it a little bit. That's okay. That's okay if it breaches through and tests the other side. Only 52 contracts came in. Still holding. I really should be trying to wait in the queue at 44.75. But the thing is, I'm not waiting in the queue because I'm like, well, we've tested this fucking price so many times. Maybe we'll finally get through it. So I know that possibility is there. I like how I'm drawing on there, like I'm explaining to somebody who can see. Really, I only have audio in the trading room. All my traders in there are watching their own DOMs. Because this isn't about watching my screen. This is about watching your screen and listening to me. If you've been fortunate enough to get in there, it's currently closed. So I might let people in there at some point in the future, but it's currently closed, and whoever is in is in. Some guys don't take advantage of it that are in there, and they're missing out on some good stuff. Some guys just can't. Maybe they don't have the time. Some guys can only be there in the afternoon. Some guys can only be there in the morning. So I know it's kind of just like a little grindy and tough to watch, but this. If you're taking a trade like this, you got to be watching this shit. So, and you can't lose focus. This isn't I'm sitting in a trade, I'm going to play around on the internet. You need to be watching this shit. And this is why I like having a trading room, is because I'm calling all this shit out to the other traders. So it keeps me engaged and focused on all this. So let's actually, notice that. See that? What happened right there? Watch it just fall in. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens right here. Let's see if it's large size on the tape. Large size, so they're clearing out multiple price levels and it tumbles in. But that's okay. Now with the 80% probability trade, this happens all the time, so you can't let this spook you out. Okay? What happens is it doesn't quite get to the other side. It almost gets to the other side, and the other side for me is 44.75. And it's going to test it. I know it is. Then again, that's speculation. But I've watched so much of this shit. I have a sixth sense. So this happens a lot of the times where this is what's happening. You get up here, right? This is your 80, you're in right here, right? This is we're in. You get a little chop here, and then you almost make it to the other side, and then it falls back in, and it's going to bounce off the point of control. It might do this. Okay, it might do that, but it's still going to go to the other side. We're auctioning on the other side of the point of control. Just remember that. As long as we're pretty much staying on the other side of the point of control, there might be a little bit of chop down here. Sometimes it'll do this, where it'll go up and it'll kind of do this, and then it'll go. So really the price action, it just it's different, but it's kind of the same. You just have to realize what's happening here. So I'm not worried about it at all. Aggressive buying coming back in. And the thing is, this large size got the move going, and then it sort of tumbled in on smaller size. So these last few ticks were done by a lot of retail trading. And I'll do a video on footprints. I accidentally hit some button. Some bullshit comes up that I've never seen in my life. All right, so let's see what happens. Let's see. I think it juices up really quickly. See, it kind of is going up, and you notice on the tape you have some nice size pushing the market up, and it's staying up. There's no selling. So for me, I think stop orders, because this large trader got the move going. Maybe he got out down here. I don't know. Maybe he's just still in his position. But retail traders did get caught in that, and you're kind of seeing them get stopped out a little bit. So that's sort of why you got that push up like that. Then again, these are larger orders that sort of got it going. So it's all speculation. But notice that we make this lower low by 2 ticks, and now we're going to go test the other side. So there's your 80% probability right there. So what I'm doing down here on the grand scheme of things, the larger frame, it's happening right here. You know, you got your low here, and then you come by like 2 ticks, and now notice how easily it's pretty much zipping up to the other side. So hopefully that right there clicks in your brain, and you're like, oh, okay. But at the same time, remember your profile is sort of like a road, and we're going to have problems right here. So there you go. Boom, there's the other test. So it went up relatively easily, basically. And again, it's this point of control is kind of like this point of control in the bigger scheme of things. So that's why it chopped there. Boom, it gets they sack it again with a lot of large size. And as long as this point of control is holding, that's good. Let's see what happens. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So now we're sinking into the point of control. So notice how tight and consolidated we were up here. Now it's starting, the moves are starting to get more violent and wider. That's okay, because it's going to start to tighten up again. So you'll see that happen in these patterns. It'll get a real tight like that, and it starts to whip out and get a little violent, and it'll tighten up again, and then it'll just, that's a good sign, because that means the push is coming. So again, real tight, consolidated. Now we got some whipping around. That's good. That means volume's coming in. People are getting interested. So we're coming back down. We're sinking. That's okay. Remember how I drew that pattern? Where is it? This one right here. Remember how I drew this? This is exactly what's happening right here. We might come down a little bit, but we're going to pull back up. So I'm not... It doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes that could be the high. This could be the high. So it doesn't always happen. And again, I'm willing to hold these fucking 3 contracts to the bitter fucking end. That's the beauty about scaling, is it allows me to like get out after the first push, the momentum is over with, and then holding the other 3, it allows me to be patient and practice becoming a more patient, longer term type trader. Pretty much watching the full extent of the 30 minutes here. But I think this is very important. So they're jacking the market back down. It's okay. So I'm looking for a rotation right on 41. And the reason I say 41 is because this is kind of where the higher node is. I don't want to see it get through 41. Notice how it's slightly higher at 28,258, and it's higher than all the other nodes down here. The next highest node is this one up here, so I want to see this shit hold right here. So, boom. Now we're coming back up off of it, going back into the point of control. Now I don't want to see any bouncing off the point of control necessarily. I want to... Oh, there she goes. Let's watch that, actually. Notice there's 592 sitting here. That's not the same as size sitting up here. If you have large size sitting at the VPOC, it's going to get filled. This trader, there's a large seller here that wants their orders to get filled. Or they're pinning the market down and they're going to cancel off because they're trying to liquidate or buy. Notice how they moved it up. So they canceled it off and moved it up. It could be a buyer. So what I think is this, in this particular example, this is a buyer trying to spoof the market. I have a video on spoofing. I'll put the link in the description. Watch that because I have a fucking textbook example of spoofing. But here's another example of what possibly could be a spoof. And he's going to pull, look, he pulled it off again and moved it up again. So he pulled it off here, put it on here, pulled it off and put it on there. So that, to me, this what, and sometimes they'll do this, and we saw this a few days earlier, me and the traders in the room, the same thing. And what this large size is kind of like putting out bait for a fish. The market wants to go to the large size. The market usually wants to go to the large size. So they're kind of like, here it is, and then, you know, the market wants to trade it, and they keep pulling it away. Notice it's 771. It kind of pulls up right here, 600, 800, and boom, gone, completely gone. Doesn't even get filled. Notice how size comes in down here. So that was a spoof. So there's a large trader getting in position right here, and they flipped the market. They had size up here on the sell, and then they flipped it, and they put this 564 in. So that's a good sign, and I see that. That's why you need to understand how to read order flow. And again, you're not seeing this shit anywhere else on YouTube. And you're learning so much on my channel. So please donate a coffee to me. Anyways, let's get back into it. That's telling me there's a large buyer in position. This shit's going to go. And you're kind of seeing the price action. You know, you got this nice price action where you, a nice V bounce. And then my 1 minute stochastics rolling and going up. That's beautiful. Notice how beautiful and clean this is. It's not all choppy like the shit on this 3 minute. It rolled over up here, came down, and it's rolling back over and going back up. Generally, the stochastic will make a clean V like this, and the price action will follow to suit. So I know we're going to have a push up. And that's where the stochastic's kind of confirming everything for me. It's I don't trade based on the stochastic. It kind of like gives me confidence in what's happening. So I think it juices up right here. Nice large buying in the tape right here. More large buying. A little bit of large selling. Not seeing any blocks here. Here we go at the 43. That's a fucking problem. But we got stacking here. Quite a few 400s behind us. That's nice. There's my large buying. 2 blocks. And we're up, and we're staying up. There's no absorbing. I mean, there is absorbing, but we're kind of staying up. Those 100s got us moving. And see how we're kind of staying up? Now you got this size coming in. We got to get through here. So that's where I'm taking it. I'm taking it to the fucking bank. I know it's going to test it. There we go. More large buying. Boom, boom, boom. Fill me, fill me, fill me. There we go. Boom. And that right there was a $1,012.50 trade on 6 contracts. Yes, it could have been more if I held all 6, but you got to understand that this is a probability thing, and I need to take a little bit off the table. And this, it doesn't go past here. This is where you're getting a lot of large selling coming in. This is sort of falling off. Your big buyer that came in here probably is liquidating up here. And that's auction market theory right there. Look at that. Big pushes, big pushes, big pushes by a big buyer. 500 comes in right here. I think we actually breach through here. We do, and this is actually... Let me pull up the Discord real quick. Give me just a second. Look at this, because I think this is where our 80% probability shit happens again. No, actually, no, 45.75. I'm just looking at this. Yeah, I don't think we get back up there. Let's fast forward it. Yeah, we don't get through there. So here's the deal. remember these blocks come in right here, and we kind of have this. You ever remember looking at a histogram on a chart and you notice when you see a volume spike that signifies the end of a trend? This was essentially where I went long. It was an uptrend. Yes, it was in a range, but it was an uptrend in a range. And all this large buying was basically a volume spike, and it didn't make any progress. So that tells me this is going to reverse, that this trend is over. And that's exactly what happens. Buyers try to trap it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it does go up. This is where the volume spike starts to take place. I think I cut the computer off. Look how dramatic that is. And it actually tags where it tested to the T because it tagged up here. But look at all, see all that? That's absorbing. And also, this is the close of the market. Actually, that's 3 o'clock. So this is also the close of the market. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please buy me a coffee. Thank you very much. I'm going to cut her off.